In this lecture, we're going to learn about one last set of modifiers. We can apply special modifiers to the Vue model directive. There are 3 modifiers available. Let's explore each one. We'll continue working on the same project. In our application, we have a data property for the age. The age can be updated by clicking on the increment and decrement buttons. That's fine and all, but we should provide an option for allowing the user to modify the age directly. Let's create an input that's bound to the age data property. Open the index.html file. We'll add an input below the last name. The input will be for the age. Let's add a label to help us identify this input. Lastly, we'll add the Vue model directive to the input element. The property it should be bound to is the age property. Let's head to the browser to view the app. We can see the input appear below the other inputs. It works great. If we change the value in the input, the age is also updated. We can even click on the buttons to modify the value. One thing that's not noticeable is the type of value we're working with. Let me show you what I mean. Switch back to the editor. Above, we're outputting the age inside a pair of paragraph tags. Before the age, I'm going to add the type of keyword. The type of keyword will instruct our application to output the data type of the variable. Let's go back to the page. Instead of seeing the age, we'll see the data type get outputted. The data type for the age is number. It's because the original value is a number. If I were to press the buttons, the data remains the same. However, if I type in the input, the data type is converted to a string. It doesn't matter if the actual value itself is a number. The reason this happens is because we're using an input. Input elements will always return a string. Even though the input is bound to a value that has the number data type, the browser will convert it to a string. This is the default behavior. It doesn't really affect us at the moment. It can lead to issues down the road. There is one simple way to fix this problem. Let's go back to the editor to find out how we can resolve this issue. There are 2 things we should always do whenever we're working with numbers in an input field. First, we should set the type of input. On the input for the age, we're setting the type to text. Let's change this to number. Setting the type is an HTML feature. It's not specific to Vue. Regardless, it's still something you will want to set when working with numbers. By setting the type attribute, the browser will prevent the visitor from typing non-numeric characters. That lowers the possibility of an error occurring in our application. While it's a great way to add constraint, it doesn't solve our issue. The browser will continue to convert the type to a string. We can convert the type back to a number by using a modifier. The Vue model directive can use 3 modifiers. One of them is called number. Let's add it to the directive. The number modifier will perform a type conversion. The value will be converted to a number type. Let's view the browser to confirm this behavior. If I type any number in the input for the age, the data type will remain a number. Great. The number modifier will allow your data properties to hold the number data type. This behavior can prevent unexpected issues when trying to perform calculations. There are 2 other modifiers we're going to quickly look at. They're the lazy and trim modifiers. Let's go back to the editor. We'll apply both modifiers to the input for the first name. It's not required to apply both modifiers to a directive. However, it is an option. The trim modifier will remove excessive white space from a value. It's the equivalent of calling the trim function on a string. The lazy modifier will change when the data property is updated. Normally, the data property in our application is updated on every key press. The lazy modifier will delay the change until the visitor has finished typing in the input and moves away from it. This modifier can be useful if you want to perform less updates on the document. Let's go back to the browser. If we were to type into the input for the first name, the name doesn't get updated. The update won't occur until I click away from the input. I'm also going to add extra white space before I do so. After moving away from the input, the first name changes. The white space is also removed. We're able to change the behavior with these two handy modifiers. That wraps it up for this lecture. We'll continue in the next one.